this lady that I'm going to talk to today, Dennie Smith, describes herself as passionate, determined, and crazy. And I would say, yeah, she's delightful. I met her on LinkedIn of all places, but it's lovely because LinkedIn has changed from this staid old kind of platform it used to be, where people just put their CVs up. It's got a much nicer community feel about it. And what I love about Dennie is that she's incredible, but she's got such a great sense of humor as well. But she is an amazing businesswoman. At present, she runs 2 businesses, a hair salon and a geek networking app. So Dennie, I want to know more about this app, this dating app. That's what it is, isn't it?
Well, good morning. So we haven't got enough time to talk about everything because it's such a long story with me. But about three or 4 years ago, no, going back before then, I've been in the hairdressing industry for about 40 years. So I haven't really known a lot else. And obviously a hot topic in the salon is always dating, as you can imagine. So, you know, we love chatting about that. So Tinder manages to give us lots of nice stories. My eldest daughter, out of 4 kids, is single. She's still single, sadly. Any nice men out there, get in touch. And I thought she'd been on Tinder and such like and just had, you know, the usual bad experiences. And I thought, I'm going to set up a dating site. This can't be hard, you know. So I looked into it. You didn't really need any qualifications. So I set it up. And basically, the lady at the time who had done the salon website, I said, can you create a dating website? So obviously, it was completely over my head, out of my league, naive, all of those silly things. Anyway, so she started it. And it was called well, no, at the time it was called Old Style Dating. It, you know, did what it said on the tin. So it was for people that still like chivalry and all those sort of things. And because my daughter's obviously looking for a gentleman. So long story short, 3 weeks before we were about to launch, and I was in the local paper, and there was a lot of interest around, she basically jumped ship. And she sent me an email at 7 o'clock at night and said she was over her head, because we then found out that a dating website isn't quite like a salon website. There's a lot more to it, you know, with the data, and members being able to chat to each other and blah, blah, blah. So in a panic, I should have taken some time. I found number 2. As I said, it's a long story for another day, but I ended up with 4 web designers costing thousands. I wasted thousands. I eventually got it launched, and I was very lucky with press. I had a story in the Sun. I had BBC News come and interview me at the salon. But being honest, I completely still out of my depths. You know, didn't have a big budget to promote this, and doing everything organically and alone. You know, I started off on LinkedIn with 1 person, you know, a friend, and on social media. So it was just building. But I loved the dating industry, and got to meet many people in the industry, and some were quite at the big, you know, the big boys. Made friends with a lot of people, got to really like the industry, went to conferences, but you know, old style dating it just wasn't working.
Right.
And I think purely money, because the people that join love the idea. So I rebranded, which again I found out I probably really didn't need to do that, and changed it to Traditional Dating Club. Anyway, there's still only around 700 members on there, and people are chatting and people have met. And whilst I was, you know, running that, and again I run it on my own, do the socials, do the manual check-in, blah blah blah, and I haven't charged, silly, because I just felt a bit embarrassed that, you know, if you join, there's not enough people on there, and I didn't want people moaning and saying, oh, there's nobody on here and all the rest of it. So long story short, my very good friend Sarah Louise Ryan is a very top international matchmaker, dating expert, relationship coach. She's taken over traditional. I'm still involved. I still look at members and read the profiles. But whilst this was going on, I am an absolute crazy military geek. And I'm sitting here now with my trench heart and all sorts of things in my little office. Right. I have an air raid siren at the salon.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I'm very well known in where I work. In fact, the salon is very vintage and I've got a lot of memorabilia, and literally the people were bringing stuff into the salon for me. Do you want this? Do you want this? Anyway, so I thought, doing a bit of research, wouldn't it be nice to have a geek dating app? And to be honest, when I first did it, I thought of, general geekiness, so history, science, and everything else.
Oh, right. So that's where it came from then.
That's where it came from, because my husband doesn't like any of my passions. God knows why we're still together, but that is another story. And I thought, I'd love to have somebody that, I could really geek out with and everything. And when I did the research, they were just very generic geek dating sites. The images were big, thick glasses. And I thought, no, I don't want any of that, because anyone can have a passion. To me, a geek is somebody that is passionate about something. But actually, the people that were joining, being honest with you, had passions that I hadn't heard of. So anime, cosplay. So I quickly did some research. I mean, obviously, I've heard of, Star Wars and Marvel. So it was sort of that sort of geeky people. So I thought, wow, this is great. This is a good market. So I've got a developer that, did the back end, if you like, of the app. But again, I've realised it's not good enough. The actual app itself isn't good enough. It hasn't got the features that I want. And again, with a lack of money, I'm struggling to get the brand out there. Right. So I had this idea because I think a lot of people are fed up with dating apps themselves, boring dating apps. Let's change it. Let's relaunch. Let's rebrand. Let's spend more money. Let's start again. So hopefully we launch next month, and it's going to be called Geek Meet app. Geek Meet Club. And to the best of my knowledge, it's going to be the first UK's all-in-one networking platform. So you can join if you're a geek or a nerd. And basically, you can choose whether you want to network, whether you want to make new friends, or whether you want to date. So you'll have customized profiles and you will be able to choose what you want to do. So it opens it up to a lot more people.
Yeah, because I think because what I was going to say is sometimes it's just focused on dating. And I think I've never used Tinder, I'm going to be completely honest, but the thought of just swiping left and right and seeing some of these profiles, and the fact that it does seem to, I feel that dating these days is very much focused on the physical and on sex.
100%.
And people aren't getting to know each other.
Yeah.
And they don't understand that old-fashioned way of actually getting to know each other.
Yeah.
And whether you like each other, it's great sex, it wasn't great sex, then that's it, and off they go.
Yeah.
And it feels more like a commodity rather than being able to
a chore. A chore,
absolutely.
Yeah. Well, Geek Meet Club is based on passions. So you will write in your profile Star Wars, Doctor Who, train spotting. And the whole point of the site is to meet like-minded people. That's just a great conversation starter.
Yeah.
And I haven't got, at the moment, there's on the Geek Meet, there's 2,097 members at the moment. Not one person has written gym or socializing. Not one.
Wow, that says a lot.
Yeah, because I read every profile. I'm the person that you know, ticks the box or
Yeah,
not.
which I think is very different from some of the bigger companies, from what
Yeah,
you've told me in the past.
yeah,
That some of the big companies, it doesn't matter what anyone puts, they can, and you've put some of the application block,
yeah,
I mean, you've blanked out the person's name, but
yeah,
you've put on there that they've even put a picture of a cat, and they
yeah,
put as a profile picture, and
yeah.
they've done things like putting the most weird kind of descriptions of what they're looking for. Now, if
I've seen it all.
yeah, um, but the big companies don't seem to vet their
I
applications.
mean, obviously, they would say they don't have the time. You're talking hundreds and thousands and millions of members. But my argument is they've got the money. They've got the money now. They've got the teams. There's no excuse. But I know a lot of them use companies. So, for example, certain keywords would flag up and they
Yeah.
might decline you on that. But I've joined about 13 dating sites because I want to see how they run. And I've joined one of the big ones. Within 5 minutes, a profile picture was Boris Johnson. Another picture was literally a Costa coffee cup. Another one was a headless man. I hadn't even been on there 10 minutes. So if they can't even be bothered to check the basics, in my opinion, they don't care about their members. And the difference with me is at the moment, I'm not making a penny and I care about the members. So I'm looking for collaborators. I want people to join in. And, you know, I hate the thought of anyone being lonely. I know it sounds a bit corny, but it's true. But, you know, make friends, fall in love, write your passions without feeling judged. And I've read some hilarious profiles on the Geek that have written, one guy wrote, you know, you save writing that you love Doctor Who before you've got that marriage certificate, or writing that I'm a geek on Tinder. I may as well say that I live in my parents' basement, you know, because there's this stereotype image of geeky people. So we're saying we welcome you. You feel free and you be you and honest and write your passions and meet somebody the same as you. You know, as you know, you're the relationship expert. There's not one rule that fits. You know, you could have a relationship where you're opposites and it works well. And there's relationships where you really are together in your passions and everything, and that works well. So, you know, I'm not going to appeal to everybody. I'm appealing to the people that are really passionate about something, and they want someone to join in that fun. You know, they want to sit and watch Doctor Who together and or whatever it is, you know. And there's a big world out there.
Yeah, I think that's lovely, because I think if you're out in the world, generally, if you've got a passion, as you say, you can be judged and people look at you. But if you find someone that has the same kind of interest, we know there are lots of clubs where people can go. But how nice to be able to feel that you could meet people in a different kind of way.
And safe. I want people to feel safe. You know, you go on Tinder, you don't know, you know, what the other people are on there, what their interests are, and you probably would feel, oh, someone's going to laugh at this or swipe by if I say, you know, I collect Dalek figures or something. But with us, no, you're not going to get that, you know. And we're open to everybody, obviously, gay people, trans people, anybody, as long as you're geek, as long as you're geeky, you're welcome. And we're going to have over 30 different geek groups on there. So you can jump in, join them, all chat together. We're going to be doing some geek face-to-face events, and I'm collaborating at the minute with some companies to sell some geek merchandise. So it's just going to be a one-stop geek place.
And when you talk about geeks, it's almost as if, I mean, that becomes stereotype, that word, but what if anyone who's got a passion about whatever it is. And I mean, that geek, yes, but I'm just wanting to kind of check that out, because I think otherwise people can almost get turned off, can't they?
Yeah,
Where
yeah.
understanding what it's about.
I mean, with me,
I love this.
oh, thanks, because I love history. I follow loads of history people on Twitter, and and I love their posts and things. So yeah, there's definitely going to be a history group. One of the groups. I'll be there. I'll be on there.
Fabulous.
But I like Marvel too. I like quite a lot, actually. I like fantasy. I like Dungeons and Dragons, and you'll be surprised. A lot of people have got some geeky passions.
Yes, absolutely.
And I've been surprised seeing some people on LinkedIn. You sort of see in their background some little Lego figures or something, and I'm like, oh, you're a geek.
Yeah, and it's nice to feel, as you say, in that comfortable place, and not feel that you're weird, or that there's exactly that. And it is nice, because why do we have to have this thing, as you say, of having to go out and date? Why do we have this feeling that you can't feel comfortable with other people? That why do we have to feel lonely when there is an opportunity to join in something like this? Because we do see some really judgmental stuff. We see some weird stuff, and it can be quite a scary world out there. So I love this. So I've really enjoyed chatting today. I'm going to ask you one tip for people. Just what can people take with them today?
Never give up.
Never give up.
Never give up. I never give up, honestly. I think I've had 6 marketing companies, 4 web designers, 2 graphic designers. And if I've got an idea and I think it's going to work, then I'm going to roll with it, and just don't give up. I don't give up easily at all. So if you want something, and I say this to my daughter, and as I say, she is still single, and she says, oh, I can't be bothered, and I say, Laurel, if you want somebody, don't give up looking. Keep looking, because they're out there. So just be determined and don't give up.
Well, you're a shining example of that. You really
just
are.
Crazy.
What's in it? I will put details of how people can get in touch with you in the show notes. But what's an easy way that people can get in touch with you? One easy way.
Probably just email me, because obviously the site's not live at the minute, so I haven't got a web address. So it would just be Denise with 2 N's, DENNISE, C for Charlie, Smith @icloud.com. So you can email me with any questions, and I normally reply to you the same day, probably within the hour, but I'll say within the same day.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for today.
Thank you for having me.